can get a Skype account and somehow get into the press room via that.
But
those are the ones he's
I think
talking
you guys
to.
are looking at this the wrong way. I know I'm just coming back to the party because I had to do what we refer to in the industry as feeding a parking meter. But I mean, look at this from an optimistic standpoint. People are learning. This week, Donald Trump learned that there is such a thing as a black caucus.
Yeah.
This week, Kid Rock learned that there is such a thing as a Senate. People are learning things, and with Betsy DeVos around, that might be an uphill struggle real soon. So,
April Ryan is a veteran and a longtime White House correspondent. It was just the height of disrespect, and I don't think he would have done that to a white reporter, certainly not a white male reporter. And I think in his same thing, he only organizes black people as inner city or not inner city.
Right.
I think he really does have the mentality that all black people literally know each other.
Oh, no, absolutely. I am still
Yeah.
convinced that the only reason he named Ben Carson to run housing and
Yeah.
urban development is because of that word urban in there.
Yes,
Is
yeah.
like, if it isn't the guy who Nicole Kidman's married to,
Right.
it means black. So Ben Carson, you're my man.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and what's her name? Amorosa. I don't know what she's
Omarosa.
Amaro.
Yeah.
Whatever she's doing there, I have no idea what
She
she
is
does.
my black friend. That is her official
Yeah,
role.
yeah.
Trump's black friend. See, guys, I have my black
and
friend.
the whole, I don't know what you guys, the whole racial thing is continued, because guys, people are talking about race. Obama started this race. No, you stirred the underbelly of our society when you put this prick in the office.
Yeah.
Because he first thing out of his mouth was what? Well, you got to get rid of, you got to put up a wall, and the Mexicans are all rapists, and yeah, and then here they come. Even David Duke, we hadn't seen David Duke in years.
Yeah.
Boom, David Duke comes out of KKK. They've been, and that's not even considered, the KKK has never been considered a terrorist group. Why?
Well,
Why?
it's because we have way too many apologists in this country. And now people are finally starting. I mean, there are people that won't straight up say Donald Trump is a racist. Yes, he is. Get a dictionary. Yes, he is. He is a racist. Is he as far as a white supremacist? Maybe not, but he at least sympathizes with those people or refuses to disavow them.
Yeah.
Even on 60 Minutes, he just brushed that off. He's like, oh, I don't even know. He wouldn't even disavow David Duke,
Right.
and he's the president. Neo-Nazis have a mainstream platform in 2017 in the United States. If you're less outraged about that and more outraged that some neo-Nazi gets punched in the face, guess what? You're part of the problem. Get out of the left because we don't want you here anymore.
Well, this whole thing that you were mad at Obama because he would not say radical Islam.
Right.
But
Well, first of all, he did.
Yeah.
right,
You
but
know,
I mean, you wanted him to use this. Well, he won't say it. Who cares? You got all this other stuff that these guys are doing that you won't even pay attention to. And he's a weak president. He's this. He's that. Oh, okay. He's weak. And now you got the clown in the office. Now what are you going to do? You don't know what you don't.
You know what
he's
I
gonna
said to that? I was like, you want to say radical Islam, that's fine, but we also need to call Dylan Roof a Christian terrorist.
Right.
You want to
Absolutely.
say that? Then he's a Christian terrorist.
And
have it all
the
ways.
kid who shot up the mosque in Montreal.
Right.
Another
a couple
Christian
weeks ago.
terrorist.
Christian terrorist.
Another
Yeah.
Christian terrorist.
think
And
that-
a Trump supporter, by the way.
Yep.
Big Trump fan.
Wow.
They go hand in hand. Right?
Yep.
It was his fan letter.
Shamalama-lama-lama,
That was his little fan letter to
dingity-ding-dee-dong.
Trump, was to shoot that in Moscow. I think that's really what woke me up after this election. I followed in Europe. I knew that there were still lingering neo-Nazis, and it seemed like every country still had its little anti-Semitism movements. And I'm like, okay, maybe Europe just didn't really clean that up yet, and we just have a few hillbillies and trailers who are
we
part of
got
the
more
KKK.
than a few, though.
And I
Right.
realized we have more than a few, and that absolutely woke me up. And it's just. It is a tragedy that this is our country's response after our first black president.
I think what has been that people have not paid attention to is our history, and you have to understand. There's been, and I've said this many times in our show. There's a wound in this country that's never healed.
Yeah.
You have. I'm 52. The Civil Rights Bill was just signed 52 years ago. I mean, Jim Crow is not that far off. I mean, so we've come along, and that's why a lot of this stuff is still festering. There's still these issues. You can't have a conversation. We should be able to have a conversation about race, although I think it was a con in the first place because racism was created. You can't be born a racist. Someone has to inject that narrative into our society to keep this stuff going. to keep your focus off on what's truly going on, you know. And if you can't have the conversation with your friends, and they're pretty much not your friends, you can't keep putting a Band-Aid on it. You have to acknowledge and say, yes, this did go on, so you can move forward. And you won't have the issues anymore. The race thing will go away. But there are those who want it to keep going. They want to keep that there, so you will continue to blame folks, and you won't be able to move forward.
Well, and those conversations are so important because racism is something that is learned, and it's something that can be unlearned. And yes, I kind of quoted American History X, but it's very true.
It is.
No, it absolutely is. And just going back a little bit into the broader picture of racism and neo-Nazis, one of the things that we learned this week, thanks to the president, is that a nuclear holocaust is bad. But if we look at the people that Trump is surrounding himself with, people like Steve Bannon, I think it's clear to see what kind of Holocaust he thinks is good. And as a Jew, I have a problem with that. And it's funny. We're talking about the race issue, and I've mentioned this on the show before. I don't consider myself white, and not in a Rachel Dolezal sort of way, but in the way that a Jewish kid from the Midwest, who's told by little budding Nazis throughout his youth, "You're not one of us. You're a Jew." So after
they sound like that?
Some of them,
they start smoking early in the Midwest,
yeah.
man. They just don't.
Well, it's on the list of school supplies. You get the wide-ruled notebook, the box of 64 crayons with the sharpener, and a carton of Marlboro Reds.
Man, dude, they're still smoking in the hospitals where you're from.
But so it's I don't consider myself part of the white establishment, despite the outward appearance, and it's one of those things that throughout my life I've sort of been like a stealth Jew, because I've got the anglicized surname, that my great grandfather got from the fine folks at Ellis Island. And so I've had the experience, several times in my life where someone who's, I consider a friend, eventually, the holidays roll around. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing for Christmas?" "I don't know, celebrating Hanukkah." "Wait, why are you doing that?" "Well, because I'm Jewish." "You never told me that." Didn't really think it needed to be,
Right.
We don't wear yellow stars on our lapels anymore.
Don't speak too soon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only been a month here in this current administration.
There's still time, and because of the son-in-law, I'm sure that'll be the next Ivanka Trump fashion line is the fashionable men's blazer with the yellow star conveniently sewn on the lapel.
But the administration really does feel like low-rent school ties. You know what I mean? Except Jared Kushner's like one of the good ones they let in. And watching that movie, School Ties, it was just so... It was like, his name is David Green. Really? You guys, you had no idea. But it's amazing having lived in New York as an Italian Catholic, and if you were white, you were Italian, Irish, or you were Catholic or Jewish. We rarely even had Protestants. We were very so it is fascinating to just sort of see the rampant anti-Semitism that's still really.
Well, I saw with Bibi coming to town. What did you guys think about that? I mean, when Bibi came. And he said, "Well, Bibi, me and Bibi go way back, and this guy I like." Basically, he was saying, I didn't want to deal with Obama because Obama basically, called Bibi on his crap. He couldn't deal with what Bibi, because he was telling Bibi, "No, dude, you're not building any more crap. What are you going to do? You basically are telling these people they can't have anything. You got as much of it. Stop, so we can have some peace."
Well, no. I am pro-Israel, and until the end of the day, it's in my core. It's what I believe. I'm not a big fan of Netanyahu, and I think this week Netanyahu realized that the Trump that he helped campaign for is not the guy that he's dealing with now, and I think we're seeing that with.
He told him he's going to have to stop. He said, "You got to stop."
I think Netanyahu was really taken aback by that. But one of the things that, Laura was talking about, the emoluments clause, when Trump said, we'll we'll take a look at the settlement. My first thought was, how are we going to put Trump on the sign outside of the next settlement? It's how's he going to get a piece of that construction money?
Right.
That's my first thought. But during the press conference, when Trump said, I'm the least racist, least anti-Semitic person you'll ever know. First of all, no, because I know black people and Jews. So first of all, they're going to be way ahead of you in the line. But as a Jewish kid growing up in the Midwest, my parents, any historical type movie that was on TV, the Holocaust miniseries, we were watching it. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen, it was a made-for-TV movie called Raid on Entebbe, about the Israeli rescue mission when an El Al flight was hijacked and taken to, why did I just blank on the name of the country? Idi Amin, Entebbe.
Africa.
Yeah.
Congo?
No, but anyway, Yaphet Kotto played Idi Amin in the movie. And there's a scene where he's addressing all the hostages. He says, "No, I love the Jewish people. I even named my son David." Mm-hmm. And that was like my first thought when Trump said, "No, I'm the least anti-Semitic person. I have a Jewish son-in-law.
I let
and my
Ivanka marry
grandchildren."
one.
It's just
Right.
See, my first thought was he was actually going to tell the truth about something, because when he first said, "I am the least racist person," I thought the next part of that sentence was going to be amongst me and my friends.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's, Steve Bannon.
Right.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Fair enough.
Right.
Yeah, we're grading on a curve.
And not to mention also
The bar is low.
Stephen Miller is also Jewish, who is Bannon's little bestie.
Mnuchin.
Yeah, and Mnuchin and Feinberg, who's going to apparently come in.
Well, the Jews with money. I think that's what we're learning here.
But wait a minute, but they didn't want Bernie? Bernie's Jewish, isn't he?
Yeah.
So when Bernie Sanders was running, they were saying, well, they'll never elect a Jew. And they wanted him. I mean, you put...
Well, I think, the same people who say that, Americans will never elect a Jew are the same ones who were saying we'll never elect a black man, before Obama, we'll never elect a woman. I think, and it varies, because when Al Gore ran with Joe Lieberman as his running mate, Bernie Sanders is, he's Jewish by birth, but I don't think he's really a practicing Jew.
Right.
So
but
he's
Lieberman
at one end
was,
of the spectrum. Lieberman is so far on the other side of the street. He's less Jewish in my mind than he is just another run-of-the-mill religious fundamentalist. Mm-hmm. So of course, you're going to have the Trump people and his fans. Well, no, they're good Jews. They're the ones with money, and they're the ones that Trump is offering cabinet positions to, where their money is enough to get the racists to overlook the fact that they're Jewish.
Lieberman, it was so odd to just to see him introduce DeVos. I'm like, where did you come from? I had no idea he was a DeVos fan, and I don't know the background on what their relationship is, but now that you bring up the fundamentalism, I wonder if that's it. He has a vested interest in having God in classrooms just as much as Betsy DeVos.
Absolutely. One last thing I want to bring up from the press conference that's going to lead into the next topic. But we mentioned this already when he was saying, well, I could blow that ship out of the water when they were talking about the Russian spy ship, which I'm convinced is only there because Putin knows that he can't get good intel out of the White House anymore since Flynn is gone. But I think I could blow that ship out of the water right now was the presidential. And I use that term loosely because we are talking about Trump, but the equivalent of his when he was campaigning, and he said, well, I could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue. Now he's got access to bigger guns, so it's not just shooting people in the middle of Fifth Avenue, but blowing Russian ships out of the water.
I think it also has stirred our society in a whole different way. I don't know if you've noticed. The mental illness is going like through the roof. We have people snapping all day long. I think it's that they're killing their wives. People are killing their kids, and guys are doing more drugs, and everything is going through the roof, and it's all